Does anyone here have any relationships that need a little bit of help? You got a strained relationship, you got a broken relationship somewhere, you got an empty relationship somewhere, you just got a cold, cooling down relationship somewhere. You need help in relationships. I'm sure we can all say yes to that. Somewhere in our world we have relationships that need some help. And God wants to help us today. And we are believing in this series, we are believing for an enriching of relationships. We are believing for some restoration of some relationships. We're believing for some breakthrough in some relationships. So I want to encourage you, join your faith together with us in whatever area, in whatever relationship you have that needs some help. Say, God, I'm trusting you for enriching, for breakthrough, for restoration. Can you do that? And I want to encourage you, believe God. I'm trusting that someone here is going to have a testimony. Say, you know what, I had a messed up relationship. We heard a testimony recently in Slough congregation of a guy who got up and he said, for 10 years I did not speak to my parents. They wouldn't speak to me because they didn't agree with our marriage and who I was marrying for 10 years. And they prayed in church. At one point they were encouraged to pray, and he prayed specifically. And God in 1 week did a miracle and restored his relationship with his parents, to the point that a few weeks later they were asking him for marriage advice over the phone. Friend, God can do a miracle in relationship. God is into relationship. God values relationships. Do you know that? When Jesus was asked, Lord, what is the most important thing? What is the most important thing? He said, this is it. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength, and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you ask Jesus, what's the most important thing, Lord? He would say, it's a relationship. It's about your relationships. And relationships are messy. I know, looking over this room, I know some of you, and I know that I know your situations are messy in terms of relationship. But God wants to help us. And in this series, this is what we want to do. We are asking God, teach us to love well. Teach us to love you well. Teach us to love one another well. Teach us to love ourselves well. And we need some skills for this. Because look, in life we can have a lot of good intentions. But listen, intentions don't deliver results. They are the things that begin to move us. But what we need with intention is some action. And that action needs to be skillful. Everyone says skillful. And most of us do not know how to love. Because of the environments we grew up in, just the experiences we've had, the walls we've put up in our hearts, the mindsets we've got, we do not know how to live well. So the first thing I want to encourage us to do is just take an attitude, and an attitude is just how you position yourself in relation to something or someone. Take an attitude that says, I need help. And if you want to be a good lover, you've got to be a good learner. So are you ready? Are we ready to learn? We're doing in this short part of the Loving Well series, the Art of Loving Well series, these 3 weeks, last week and today and next week, we're looking at 4 specific skills. Now, a skill is a learned ability, something you learn to do in order to achieve a desired result. Right? You want to achieve something. So how do I achieve it? I need some skill. I need some ability. I don't just need intention. I need skillful action. And sometimes I need help to do that well. And in this series, we're looking at 4 skills. They're in your note there. Exploring the iceberg, we looked at last week, and incarnational listening. Right? Listen to that and get that and get that. So exploring the iceberg is all that. What is going on inside of you? Becoming self-aware. Do you know what's going on inside of you? Right? When these emotions come up and we learned it, what are the 4 questions we can ask ourselves to explore the iceberg? What are you sad about? What are you glad about? What are you mad about? What are you anxious about? Okay, and get that. It'll really help you. And then incarnational listening was this idea of putting yourself in another. Listen to understand. And this is about becoming others aware. Don't just become self-aware, but become others aware. And when those two connect, we need the next skill, which is what we're going to look at today. And I'm going to call this engaging in crucial conversations. Engaging in crucial conversations. This has to do with your mouth. Okay, these lips over here need to become skillful to speak the truth in love so that we can go on to maturity. Okay, so our purpose in these sessions is to grow some skills that will help us, empower us to love God, one another, and others, and ourselves well. Better, anyway. It's not just a destination, it's a journey, and we become skillful as we practice, as we repeat, as we fail often. How many of you have got relationships where you know there are some conversations that you want to have, some things you want to talk about, or you know you should talk about them, but somehow you just cannot get around to it? I mean, it's just awkward. You don't know what reaction you're going to get. Maybe you tried and it just went wrong. I was speaking to a pastor friend of mine a few weeks ago, and he was just unpacking how he's feeling about a certain situation and leadership stuff happening around him. And I asked him this question, exploring the iceberg. I said, who are you angry with? Ooh, okay. Dig into the iceberg. A name comes out. This person, actually, this whole situation, I blame them for this. They did something that has caused me a lot of stress. I said, okay, you've got to talk to them. I'm going to give you 2 weeks. Over the next 2 weeks, give them a call, speak out your heart, and you've got to address the thing. You can't bury it. So 2 weeks' time, we phone again, we on Skype again, and I said, how's it going? He says, yeah, I really told him exactly how I felt. I said, how did it go? He said, it didn't go well. He's mad at me. He misunderstood me. He said, but I'm feeling a lot better. I said, okay, that's a start. Okay, that's a start. But how would it be if we could engage in those kind of conversations in a better way? If we could be more skillful into engaging in conversations about topics that need to be addressed, that can't just be avoided. And we're talking about things like expectations we have of others. We're talking about things like assumptions we have about what they want or what we should do. We're talking about things like concerns we have in our hearts about a situation, or worry, or complaints. Anyone got a complaint about somebody? We got some hands going up at the back there. All right. So these are things. What about the hopes and the dreams you carry in your heart that you can't share with those around you? We need skills to get those things that are inside of us out in a fully but healthy way. The stuff that's going on inside, the things you're thinking about, the things you're feeling, if you just stuff them down there, your relationships will never go to another level. And the reason we need this skill is so that we can take all our relationships to a greater level of maturity. Without the truth spoken in love, we will never go on to maturity in any relationships. You will not go deeper by burying, by avoiding, by not engaging in the crucial conversations. Let's go to the scriptures and look at the book of James, chapter 1, and just see some helpful truth for us in terms of this skill. So here in the book of James chapter 1 is a great book. It starts off with, count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face various trials. Anyone need that word today? And then it says this, because when you've gone through what you're going through, when you get to the end of it, this is the promise. You will be mature, complete, and lacking nothing. That's a word for someone here today. When you go through, and listen, we have a saying here. To get to, you got to go through. To get to, you got to go through. That's worth tweeting, friend. And remembering. Because when you get to, you will be complete, mature, and lacking nothing. That's awesome. There's a great promise for those of you going through some stuff. But then James carries on and he switches to relationships. And he says this, he says, of his own will, of God's own will, this is verse 18, of his own will, God brought us forth by the word of his truth. And we out of all creation became his prized possession. He says he brought us forth, you are here by his will. You're not an accident. You're not a unexpected child, human on the face of this planet. He said, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you. I brought you forth by the word of my truth, and you're my prized possession. That's awesome. You can't tweet that, but you got to remember that. It's too long to tweet. But you got to remember that. You're his prized possession. And then, and listen, you got to know this. It's not just you and me that are his prized possession. The person next to you, and the person you work with, and the person you study with, and the person who's your neighbor from hell, they are also his prized possession. And he wants us, he expects us to love all well. Then he says this, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all, say everyone, all, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. For the anger of man, for human anger, does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Let's unpack this a little bit. First of all, he brought us forth by the word of his truth. God's word is powerful, and words are powerful. God created us with his word, created everything with his word. We also create our worlds with our words. Your words are powerful, friend, and you need to realize, we all need to realize that our words are powerful. That's why we need to use them carefully and skillfully. Otherwise, we're just dropping bombs all over the place. Like my friend, hey, I feel better. I just threw a bomb at the guy and blew him up. That's not, use them carefully and skillfully, because they're powerful. But in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15, it says this, talking about the church and the body and maturing. It says, we must speak the truth in love, and as we do that, we cause everyone to mature into Christ likeness. As we speak the word in love, as we speak it skillfully, we cause maturity to happen. This is the thing. If you neglect to have these crucial conversations, the conversations that need to be had in order to move your relationship to the next level of maturity, if you neglect these, you won't mature, those around you won't mature, and the relationship won't mature. This is the why. We need to consider the words we speak and how we speak them, so that we will mature in that, and others will mature, and our relationships will mature. There's a guy called Joseph Grenny, great writer, and he wrote a book actually called Crucial Conversations. I kind of nicked the name from the thought from there. He says this, the issue, it's in your notes. The health of a relationship or a team or an organization is best measured by the average time lag between identifying and discussing a problem. Okay. Did you get that? There is a problem. What kind of problem? Also, what kind of problems do we have? Well, we might have a problem with what somebody said and the way I interpret it. We might have a problem with someone who showed up late for a meeting at work, or maybe a date. We might have a problem with something that we saw someone post on Facebook. We might have a problem with whatever. Might have a problem with, in a relationship that you're not married, you might have a problem with the way he is touching you or wanting to, and you need to have a crucial conversation. If you're married, you might have a problem with the way he's not touching you. Just saying. We have all sorts of situations where where there are assumptions, where there are concerns, where there are complaints. And if we don't engage in these conversations, we will stay immature at best. And at worst, we'll just destroy and erode a relationship. So we need to engage in these conversations. And he says, this is the idea, and this is where James goes to as well. The health of a relationship can be measured, determined by the distance, the time lag between when something happens that needs to be addressed and when it actually is addressed. How many people at your workplace, there's stuff happening all the time that you know should be addressed? The way people are treated, the way some people are slack and they don't deliver and it affects the team, the way some people gossip about other staff members at the water cooler, the way some people use their language in a vulgar way, the way some people use the name of your Lord in vain. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff happening. The way you were treated, the way you think someone else was treated. The conversations that need to be had, and the health of that organization, and similarly for our relationships, is the time can be measured between when something happens and how long it takes for us to actually have the crucial conversation. So we want the skills that'll help shorten that time and do it well. Is that okay? That's what we want to learn. Okay, here we go. Let's see what James has to say. Well, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So quick to listen was not just, the idea there is learn the skill of incarnational listening. So I want to be ready to listen. That's my default. I am a listener. Okay. I am tuned in to be aware of what's happening around me, to pick up what things are happening. I mean, I'm often accused of being pretty thick-skinned. Stuff just doesn't come to me that easily. I have to learn to be quick to listen. I have to be aware of what's going around me. Ali is like way ahead of me to discern some things going on. I'm just like, everything's good, everything's happy. But, I need help to listen. Anybody need help to listen? Okay. And as I said last week, these two things on the side of the year, most attractive thing in any relationship. Slow to speak does not mean take your time and don't talk about things that should be talked about. When you one day feel like really courageous, that's when you need to talk. That idea is not slow, like, let's just take our time, let's hope it goes away before I need to be brave enough to speak about it. That's not what that word slow means. That slow means to be unhurried, but to be considering the facts so that you can move deliberately forward. This is it. Because sometimes we just put our foot right in it, don't we? We're like Peter. I will never. We just say stupid things. So this isn't about saying, you got the picture. This is about unhurried, but calculated so that you can move deliberately forward. And I would say in context, deliberately move the relationship forward. Okay, the conversation forward. And slow to get angry is a huge part of this. Because we have so much stuff happening inside of us when these sort of things are happening, isn't it? We have stuff inside of us. And when we mix that emotion with our mouth, ooh. So it says, slow down that which is happening inside of you. Explore that iceberg, process it. Don't mix it into your communication so that it spoils your communication as it often does. So these crucial conversations in areas where they need to happen. You're in a connect group and somebody every week dominates the conversation. They just talk too much. You're in a prayer meeting and someone prays too much. I also want to pray. How long is it going to take before that person is the only one at the connect group and the only one in the prayer meeting because nobody else wants to talk about it, address it, say, hey, but how do we? Here we need to look at two more things, okay? Some hindrances to why don't we get involved in these conversations? I mean, why don't we? Okay, here are a few thoughts, okay, in your notes there. Lying. We don't because we lie. We have learned to lie. We say yes when we mean no. We've learned to say no when we mean yes. We lying, okay? We We say what isn't true, and it's just become a habit. We're not saying what we're really thinking or feeling, because we've believed a lie. We've believed a lie that you can't speak the truth and have a relationship at the same time. You got to choose which one. You got to bury some things in order to have a relationship. And I think from the age of 3 we taught that. That we can't, if I say what I need to say, it'll spoil the relationship and it'll be over. So you need to quit lying and quit believing the lie. Because it'll hinder your crucial conversation, showing up to that conversation. The second thing is denying. Denying will hinder you from having the crucial conversation you need to have to move your relationships on. Denying is simply pretending there isn't a problem. I know about denial, but I don't believe it exists. It's like building a false wall. We have these feelings, but we build a false wall that we think if I can just keep these things behind the wall, everything's going to be okay. And we need to quit denying that there's a problem when there is a problem. We need to face the facts. We need to face the issues. And if we don't, these will hinder us from having these crucial conversations. And if we don't have them, we won't mature and the relationship will not deepen or go anywhere. The third thing is the fear of rejection or outcome reaction. We are wired for relationship. Most of us crave acceptance, don't we? I mean, I want to be loved. I want to be a pastor that everybody loves. I mean, if you don't like me, that is deep in my soul. I want you to love me. So if I have to address something with you that's needs to be addressed, I fear that you're going to reject me. Or you will go to another great church in London. So fear of rejection, because you make and this is a huge problem, friends, because that just makes the relationship an idol. And that person an idol, and you and I an idol worshiper. Because we care more what these people think, what others think, and we care more for relationship, for having relationship, than we care for truth and what God thinks. And this fear of outcome reaction is another one that will cause us. Outcome reaction is, I tried to talk about it once, but oh man, the reaction I got was so vicious. And we spent hours trying to untangle who said what, how, whatever. I don't even want to go there again. So let's just bury it, hope it goes away. And again, that's the end of a relationship. I have a relationship. I have a good friend in another country, and something happened. And I needed to talk about that. It had to do with someone else and their relationship with them. And I raised that. And he told me, I don't want us ever to talk about that again. And you know where that relationship's gone? Downhill. All the way. Great relationship that because someone said, that's a no-go area for us, okay? It's just gone down. And friend, when you, in your relationships with your spouse, with your friends, in church, if there are areas that we can't talk about, there's one way that relationship is going, and it's going downhill. And let me just say, we don't want to be a church where there are any no-go areas. We don't want to be a church where we can't talk about stuff. Where you can't talk to anyone in leadership or in your connect group. We need to be a people where we don't have these things hindering us from having crucial conversations. Because we got a different glue that glues us together, right? We got a different glue. Now you might have some other things that are hindrances, and I want you to take one moment and consider here which of these lying, denying, fear of rejection, or outcome reaction, or any other thing, what do you identify as hindering you having a crucial conversation that you need to have at this point in your life? Just go for it. Just write that down. Tick the box. Write something down. Okay, now one other reason why we would not engage in crucial conversations is simply because we do not know how. We don't know where to start. Have you ever been there? I mean, I want to. I'm not trying to bury it. I'm not lying. I'm not denying. I'm not fearing. I just don't know where to start because I'm not skilled with my words. And we need to practice. And so what I want to do here quickly is just give you some scenarios of areas where we typically need to have crucial conversations, and maybe some words, some language that will help get the thing going. And I must say, personally, in my own life, as I've studied some of these things and just try to practice them in my relationships over the last 3 months or so, it has helped me hugely to have some much richer conversations. We've just had a connect group for 8 weeks where we did some relational healthy skills, and these have helped me hugely just to get some language, to get some of these things going in a much better way. And Ellie and I have been married for well over 20 years, and this has helped us hugely. So helped us with our children, helped us have some conversations as a staff and beyond. So let me go through some of these quickly. So, skilled in having crucial conversations when certain things are happening. Number one, when there are concerns and worried. When you have concerns and worries and you need to talk about them, here's a great word, puzzled. I'm puzzled. Everyone say, I'm puzzled. If you don't know what to say, just if you can get the word I'm puzzled in there, that normally helps just to get the conversation going. Because it's not a judgmental word. It's owning the fact that you don't quite understand. You may not have all the facts involved, right? You're not making an assumption that you know everything. I'm puzzled. For instance, someone posted something as a comment to something I posted on Facebook about a while ago. Posted something that was just inappropriate. And I know they post inappropriate stuff all the time. And it's no one in this room, by the way, if you're worried about it. He was in another country, just posted something that was just, it's just not good. So what do you do with that? Like, of course, number one, delete it, because it's my wall, it's not theirs. Right? Okay? Own your wall. That's worth coming to church for right here. Okay? You have the authority to delete comments, not like them, not let people post on your wall, all that. Okay? Take authority over your wall. But you know what I respond? I want to disciple this guy. I want him to grow. So how do I respond? I don't agree with what you posted. Why are you posting such rubbish on my wall? Is that the way? Okay, that's not going to help. Do I do that publicly or private message? Okay, there's no one. Okay. Show up well on your wall. Okay. No, I write him a private message. Hey, I noticed a comment that you posted. I'm puzzled by what you meant by that. Please, let's talk about it. Okay, it's not judging. It's like, hey, what's up with you? Okay, when you're not sure about what's going on, but you need to talk about it. Hey, I noticed you did this. I'm puzzled. Or I noticed you said that. Or I noticed you didn't talk to me. I'm puzzled. Is there something we can talk about or need? So there's a concern or worry. I'm puzzled. Will help you hugely. Complaints. Anyone got complaints? People don't do things. He's leaving his clothes lying on the floor all the time. She doesn't. I don't know what she doesn't do, but like Ellie regularly, because hey, you know what? Always is a feeling word, right? You never and always are feeling words. They're not fact words. So when you say always and someone argues about that, you must know they're not listening to you, because they're not listening that actually I feel like it's always. Because I don't know about you, but when someone says to me always, I say, hang on. There was that one time I did not. And then the conversation's over, isn't it? We need to realize, I'm feeling, remember, I want to feel felt. I'm feeling that you feel I always do that. So Ellie, when she waters the garden, she leaves the hose pipe all over my lawn. And by the time I pick it up, it's got these marks all over the lawn. So what do? I've got a complaint. Now, Ellie has loads of complaints to me. Okay, I'm just got the microphones, right? What do? Here's the situation. I noticed that you leave the hosepipe lying on the lawn. I'm responsible for our lawn, okay? I notice that you often leave the hosepipe lying on the lawn. I would prefer that you just put it away when you're finished. Do you get what I'm saying? Often we just complain. You always leave the hosepipe. You don't care about my lawn. That's not helpful. That's not going to take the crucial conversation to any place. But to say, this is what I noticed, these are the facts, and I'm offering a preference or a solution. This is skill, friend. If you can engage with someone, whether it's work, I notice that you always neglect this, so I have to work late at least once a week because of what you're doing. I would prefer that if at 1 o'clock when you realize you're going to do that, you tell me, and then I can be clear, because you got to state your preferences and offer a solution with a complaint. Is that good? This will help you. Assumptions. We have so many assumptions about stuff going on. What the other one thinks, what I think the other one is thinking. And how do you get into their head? Well, you got to start mind reading, okay? No, you got to stop mind reading. They know their mind and God knows their mind. So if God doesn't tell you, you better ask them. And here's the skill. Can I have permission to read your mind? Okay, maybe that sounds a little weird, but how about this? Can I just ask you to be sure that you are thinking what I'm thinking, you're thinking? Or maybe, can I just check an assumption with you? And they say, because I'm thinking, like a few weeks ago, we finished a meeting, Ali and I, and we went for lunch somewhere. It's a beautiful day out of London. And for some reason, through the conversation in the morning, and I had an assumption that the way where Ali wanted to go was a nice restaurant in this town. So after thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to get a sandwich and go and sit at the river and enjoy the beautiful one-day summer we have. But for some reason, I had assumed that Ali wanted to go, and I had another assumption. I assumed that if I said to Ali, can't we just get a sandwich and a drink and sit at the river, she would think I'm cheapskate. I'm just trying to save her money. So everything in me. So we arrived there and we're sitting in this restaurant, a little stuffy, the food's not that good, spend a lot of money, and then we're walking back to the car. And you know what, I'm like, that was not good. And eventually we kind of like, Ali, you know, it comes out. And we realized that Ali would have loved to go and sit at the river too with a sandwich and a drink. But because we just went along with our assumptions, my assumptions, I didn't check the assumptions, I ended up wasting money, time, and a beautiful moment. Friend, don't just live with assumptions. We have the right to say, hey, Gerald, you know, I just want to check something. I just have an assumption that you don't like me anymore because you never talk to me. Or I noticed you didn't greet me. I just want to check, is there something wrong? There's an assumption there, right? Come on. Let's be bold. Let's ask them what they're thinking rather than make up your own story. Let's go quickly. Expectations. We all have expectations of others. We have expectations. Let's clarify expectations. Again, don't just assume someone else knows what you expect of them. If I want the hosepipe picked up from the lawn, let me clarify my expectation. Ali, I would love that you would put the hosepipe away once you've used it, not lying on the lawn. And then ask, can you agree with that? Okay? Ask the question. I mean, let's agree the expectation. Okay? If Ali says, well, you always leave your clothes lying and don't put them in the wash basket, so I have to go and pick them up and then go and wash. I expect you, when you have dirty clothes, to put them in the wash basket yourself. Can you agree to that? Yes, I can. Or no, that's too difficult for me, Ali. Okay. Aspirations, hopes, and dreams. We have stuff inside of us. We have hopes, we have dreams, friends. And in a relationship, we are supposed to encourage one another into those dreams. We want to be in places where people will take our dreams and help lift them up, right? But when we, for some reason, don't share our hopes, our dreams, our desires, then our relationships just plateau to some sort of insipid thing, isn't it? We want to be a people where we can get the hopes, the dreams out of us, and we want to be bold with that. Don't hold back, because your relationships needs to know your hopes, your dreams, and then you'll find out whether somebody is supportive of those. And if you're hanging around with people that quash your dreams all the time, then talk to them about it. Say, I'm puzzled. Every time I share what I want to do with my life or something great I want to do, you come up with 10 reasons. Why not? I'm puzzled why you do that. I've had that many times, as a strategy guy. I mean, I'm visionary, but once we get down, I've got to watch that I don't come up with reasons why we can't. I want to be a person that says, you can. Come on, I'll support you. Let's go for it. So let's be bold in affirmations and thankfulness. Friend, this is huge too. Affirmations, because be generous what you have got inside for others. This is not about you, but friends, when we start to bless, when we start to have good things coming out of our mouths, I believe that creates a platform, an environment where we can deal with a lot of these other things too. The reason we often can't deal with the difficult things is because we don't say enough good things. We should, the Bible says every time you come to church, everybody has a word, has a song, has a whatever. And that isn't, you don't need a microphone to deliver that, right? Every time you come, you are blessed to be a blessing. You should never come to a gathering of any kind without blessing somebody with your words. Be a builder. Right? Don't be boring. Be a builder, and definitely don't be a breaker, but be a builder. And this is the reason it's skillful. Once you get going with the positive stuff, it will be easier to deal with bring up the other stuff. Because you are depositing positive stuff, good stuff, value stuff, and then you can say, this concern I have, or I'm puzzled by this, or could you do that? Do you get what I'm saying? The last one is emotions. And this really relates back to what Ali taught last week, exploring the iceberg. Be careful with your emotions, that you don't mix up your emotions with your expression of in these crucial conversations, and mess the crucial conversation up because you're angry, because you're irritated, because you're impatient. Those are things that you've got to explore your own iceberg. Take him to Jesus. Take him to somebody, a safe place where you can sort those things out. Otherwise, you'll just blow up when you show up. You can tweet that. Process what you feel. And listen, process your feelings based on values. A feeling, ultimately, you're feeling something because you need to identify the value that has been violated. Why am I feeling angry, disappointed? What has been really violated? So emotions are indicators that something important to you has been violated. And when you get to that place, you can mix that value issue into your crucial conversation in a much better way, rather than just mix your anger or your disappointment in there, okay? So a bunch of things, and I'm sure there are lots more. Some essentials in every conversation. Always create safety, okay? Safety means that the person you're dealing with, interacting with, knows that you value this relationship more than anything else. You value this relationship. So create a safe environment, and then if you committed to creating a safe environment by doing a few things there, value the relationship, try to find common ground and value as much as you can, always speaking the truth in love, not judgmental, receive the love of God, then give it, always ask the Holy Spirit to help you. He's our great helper in everything. When you mix those things into your crucial conversation, there will be safety, and when there's safety, you can just about talk about anything to anybody without blowing up. And with seeing God work as you speak the truth in love, God will work to take that truth. And just like with His word, He brought us forth. When you speak the truth in love and you learn to speak it skillfully, that word will grow maturity in the person you're speaking to. It'll grow maturity in yourself, and it'll grow maturity in your relationships with one another and with God and with yourself. I pray that in this community of ours, we will learn to love well. We will grow the skills we need to love each other better and love well. And this is the great promise of Jesus. Command and a promise, a new commandment. Love one another. as I have loved you. Jesus didn't lie, deny, fear rejection, outcome reaction. He spoke the truth. He modeled engaging with what need to be talked about, and took guys like Peter, who didn't have a clue how to have a crucial conversation, to a place where he could engage. And he taught, and the disciples engaging with one another when there were issues about who they were neglecting, and there were the issues about what they were prioritizing. They could have these conversations and go on to maturity. I pray that we'll have these conversations and we will go on to maturity, and Jesus will be glorified, because he said, if we love one another, the world will know, everyone will know that we are his disciples. Amen.